Call.
Franklin Hahn.
Here.
Ken Anderson.
Here.
Dean Hoppel.
Yes.
Wayne Renigan.
Yes.
Ken Vitzger.
Here.
Did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes? Any corrections or additions on the minutes?
Move they be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Well, I guess when you're ready, Amelia, we can start on the first one.
All right. So please take notice that an application was received from the following persons for a variance of setback requirements: Olivia Lamke and A&K Development LLC. And this is in Section 8, Township 101, Range 4 in Houston County, on parcel 0800911006 in La Crescent Township. It is a variance to allow the creation of a new lot that has two Type 3 locations rather than the two Type 1 septic system locations as required by code. A hearing on this application will be held at the Houston County Commissioners Room in Caledonia at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, September 24th. All persons having an interest in the matter may attend the hearing or submit comments relative to the granting or denying of said application. Comments should be mailed to the Environmental Services Department or emailed to zoning and must be received by Tuesday, September 16th of 2025 to be included for review prior to the hearing. All comments are considered part of the public record, and this was advertised on September 10th of 2025.
Is the applicant here? Oh, that's all right.
So this is very similar to one you guys reviewed last month.
Yeah, you come up and sit down.
They are looking, her end goal is to rezone a portion of this parcel and rezone to residential, and it'll be about a 16-acre parcel, I think. But we hit a similar issue where the soils aren't conducive to put in Type 1 systems, and so they're looking for this variance to allow the Type 3. I did, what you guys had on up there here was the packet from the contractor that shows the perk test results, and that he felt that they were adequate to be able to accommodate a septic system in that location and replacement system.
So is this an open quarter, or is this one of them that falls into the, it's an open quarter?
No, so that's why she has to go the rezone route. There is, the house she currently lives in is there, and that will stay. And then there is a house to the up north of County 6 as well. So the only way that she can build in this location is to rezone it. And it is very close to the La Crescent city limits. And so it is, and it's not tillable. It is a good location for rezone, except for the soils in that area.
So would you explain to me what's the difference between the Type 2, Type 1 and Type 3?
Yeah, so the Type 1 is a standard system. It can be a mound, it can be an at-grade or a trench. The type designation doesn't necessarily have to do with whether it's below ground or above ground. It has to do with the site conditions that are there. And so a Type 3 is, in rule, it's described as a deviation from certain standards, one of which is the requirement for 12 inches of good soil or soil that has good, or that does not show any signs of redox. And in this location, we hit pretty much as soon as you dug down, you saw those. I think last time I brought a sample with the like reds and grays in it. Pretty much as soon as you got, or your first shovel, you were seeing that. And so that's where we went to the perk test to determine actually how the soil handles the hydraulics of it and if it can take on water. And the perk test did show that it could, and then the loading rate will be determined by that rate that he'd kind of identified in those three. And so a Type 3 is an option there. There are certain things in code that you can't deviate from, but this particular issue you can.
So now they still have to have the second site or not necessarily the second?
Yep, so the way I wrote the variance, because, we didn't have any location, was that the variance would be for the creation of a new lot that will show two type 3 locations rather than two type 1. So they'll still have to show two, they just won't be that type 1.
When you say show, meaning another perk test has to be adequate in a different location.
Yeah, we'll go out and do soils, complete soils too, but they have to, yeah, we'll do borings in those locations, and then he'll actually, in his design, draw out to scale where both the initial system and then the replacement system will go.
Is there a note in here about something that needed to be complied with before this happens?
Yep, that was this paperwork.
That's it.
I had not received that yet, so.
Okay. And this satisfies you?
Yep,
So if the perk tests work, and there's enough room for a system that will be required? And how about a well? Imagine there eventually will be a well.
will you be drilling a new one or running water from?
Yep.
Yeah, drilling a new.
Prep and doing,
There again, will there be enough room?
oh yeah, there's plenty of room. It's a big plateau. And they're gonna put the sewer down over the hill where it perked better. And the mound won't even be noticeable. It'll just blend in with the hill.
Towards
Okay.
the creek then?
No, it'll be down over, not that side. It'll be more towards the highway, right below the driveway. So that the farmhouse next door, our original farmhouse where she was living, has a traditional sewer, and it's down over the hill just a little bit. It hits a better vein of soil there. So that's why we're hoping to put it
Because I
down there.
noticed in the notes that some of it was existing old farmyard.
Yeah,
And it's tough to get perk off of them.
yeah. No, this isn't in there. This is in the pasture area.
All right.
It's all wooded area.
How many acres on this parcel?
We're sectioning off 16.
Yeah, 16 acres
Okay.
would be,
And
yep.
it'll join residential joining, or
Push up to
zoned area,
residential.
right, Amelia? How's that work?
Yeah,
The Snowmobile Club? It's
on the
already-
north side
Yeah,
of the road too, that's, well, Al's is highway business or industrial. And then there's some residential on Town Hall Road. And then likely on the other side of them too, there might be some rezoning coming in the future. But 16 acres is, or that part of it is outside of your guys's, the scope of your review, but it seems like a lot, but really the plateau that they're proposing to build on is the only buildable portion of that. It runs down into Pine Creek, the watershed, so it's floodplain and wetland and all unbuildable land. As far as locating systems, they still have some discussions on, as far as number of bedrooms to determine a specific size, but he felt that he could locate 2 in there.
Well, that's my biggest concern, that there's room and the creek doesn't
right.
become an
Near the
issue.
creek, or
Yeah.
the marsh, right.
Marsh, yeah.
It's on the opposite side. There's-
I know the valley, you know. I
Yep,
know
it's right
the-
along between the highway and the
Yep.
hillside there.
And when we review the specific, or the actual design, that's something I look at too, and if they can't show it then, that's,
Well, you
that'd be a problem.
review the sewer and all that before you before you grant the building permit, correct?
I do it all at the same time.
Okay.
So yeah, if they can't get a sewer in there, then there would be no building permit issued.
So specifically, what's the variance?
It's to allow the deviation from the rule in that they can locate these type 3 systems. And so it'll be a little bit undersized from what a type 1 would likely be.
But it still requires an alternate site.
Yep.
Okay.
And they, a lot of times will make up for that, they'll put in a larger tank, and they do have to time dose it. So it's treated a little differently just to kind of protect the system.
Any other questions?
I'm good.
Is there any comments from the public? If not, we'll move on to the findings.
All right, so number one, that the variance request is in harmony with the intent and purpose of official controls. Analysis states that the comprehensive land use plan, it discourages development in areas where on-site sewer systems are likely to malfunction due to poor soil characteristics, and the percolation test demonstrates that likely can be achieved.
So before we vote on that, the person that did the soil testing is the one that's saying it's all right, correct?
Correct.
All in favor, do you want a roll call or do you want to just go by aye vote?
Comfortable with just,
Pardon?
Comfortable with,
Regular?
yes.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Go ahead.
Number two, that there are practical difficulties in complying with the official controls, and the proposed use of the property is reasonable. Economic considerations alone do not constitute practical difficulties. Analysis states that a licensed contractor determined that soils at this location will not meet standard code requirements, but after conducting perk tests, feels that it can adequately function for a septic system.
Any questions on that one? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Go ahead.
Three, that the variance request is due to special conditions or circumstances unique to the property and not created by the property owner. Analysis states that soil conditions are unique geological features not created by the property owner.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Go ahead.
Four, that the variance cannot be alleviated by reasonable method other than a variance, and the minimum variance which would alleviate the practical difficulty is sought. Analysis states that the only method to resolve this issue is by variance, which is allowed in the septic code, and the requirement for a variance should indicate to the landowner the importance of caring for the system to ensure its longevity.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number five.
Five, that the variance will not alter the essential character of the locality nor substantially impair property values or the public health, safety, or welfare in the vicinity. Analysis states that the variance will allow the installation of a septic system and in turn new dwelling, both of which are commonly found in this locality, and a properly functioning septic system will not impair health or safety.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number six.
Six, that the request is not a use variance and shall not have the effect of allowing any use that is not allowed in the zoning district, permit a lower degree of flood protection than the regulatory flood protection elevation, or permit standards lower than those required by state law. Analysis states that this request is not a use variance and will not permit a lower degree of flood protection.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to accept the findings?
So moved.
fight you for it.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried. You want to read the proposed motion?
So motion to grant a variance to allow the creation of a new lot that has two type 3 locations rather than the two type 1 septic system locations as required by code.
This here in dark letters down here, did you receive a documentation from the septic designer?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any questions on anything? Somebody want to make a motion to that
Make
effect?
that motion for that.
Second.
Any more discussion? Roll call vote.
Dean Hoppel,
Yes.
Wayne Runnigan,
Yes.
Franklin Hahn,
Yes.
Ken Anderson,
Yes.
and Ken Visker.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank
Try to
you.
get that kid under control.
They're doing pretty good.
6:15, I guess we can
That
start.
right? All right, so please take notice that an application was received from the following persons for a variance of setback requirements. Adam Steele for the vacated part of First Street north of Main Street in the original plat of Hoka, and this is in Section 5, Township 103, Range 4 of Houston County, on parcel 2302160000 within the city of Hoka. There are two variances. One is a variance to reduce setback requirements for a proposed cannabis microbusiness from an existing school, and a variance to reduce setback requirements for a proposed cannabis microbusiness from an existing public park and athletic field. A hearing on this application will be held at the Houston County Commissioners Room in the City of Caledonia at 5:15 on Wednesday, September 24th. All persons having an interest in the matter may attend the hearing or submit comments relative to the granting or denying of said application, and comments should be mailed to the Environmental Services Department or emailed to the zoning office and must be received by Tuesday, September 16th of 2025 to be included for review prior to the hearing. All comments are considered part of the public record, and this was advertised on September 10th of 2025. So you guys had a packet of additional information for this too. There were a number of comments that came in the last 24 to 48 hours. And then I had a table in there and the ordinance for cannabis use in public places. And that was some of the comments that came in. I guess I wanted you guys to realize that there was an ordinance in place regulating the use of it in public. So you'll have to stop and ask questions as needed. I realize as I was writing this, I've been talking cannabis a lot over the last year or so, but this is the first proposal that you guys have seen. And so the state did legalize cannabis last year and finalized the rules earlier this year. And earlier this summer, there was a lottery process for some of these. Some of the license types are capped. Microbusiness is one of those. And now we are starting to see a few of those at the planning commission level start to come in and secure permits for operating in the county. The state rules, a statute and rules do regulate operations, and they set standards for them for fencing, security, odor mitigation, compliance testing, labeling, all that stuff. But then in our cannabis business ordinance, which we adopted at the very end of the year last year, we are allowed to regulate a couple things at our level as well. So the state statute does allow local government units to adopt reasonable restrictions on time, place, and manner of these businesses, as long as it does not prohibit the establishment or operation of a cannabis business. And so what statute laid out is that a local government unit may prohibit the operation within 1,000 feet of school, 500 feet of a daycare, residential treatment facility, or an attraction within a public park that is regularly used by minors, such as playgrounds or athletic fields. They also gave us the ability to regulate the number of retail licenses. I guess I'll just note that some of these that we've seen are just people who are doing cultivation. That doesn't fall under that limit. This is strictly, that limit is strictly for retail sites. And so the county does limit ours to 4, and that's within county jurisdiction. The way that ordinance is written, county jurisdiction covers the whole county until until a city would adopt their own ordinance, and then they are opting out of the counties. At this point in time, Caledonia and La Crescent are the only two that have drafted their own ordinances and set their own standards. And so the communities of Brownsville, Eitzen, Hoka, Houston, Spring Grove are all under our ordinances, which is why you're reviewing a site for the city of Hoka tonight, which typically you would not. So going further, the board did discuss what to put in place for the setback. That was the maximum the state allowed. They talked about other numbers, but ultimately left it at the maximum. And I guess you can look at that as rather than setting it lower, like you can see, La Crescent and Caledonia have lesser standards for theirs. We have the ability to review things site specifically, and we're not just allowing more by almost like by right. It gives a little bit more oversight, or it gives more oversight to you guys specifically. As you can see, I'll just touch on La Crescent is at. Their setback is 475 feet from the school, and Caledonia is 500 feet from the school, versus our 1,000. And then for public parks, La Crescent is at 250 feet from a public park, and Caledonia didn't even put a regulation on that. So, I guess kind of then to walk you through the process, as I stated, the applicants had to go through a lottery system to be given the opportunity to potentially move forward. They still have other standards that they meet. So now they're at the level where they're coming to the local government unit for permission. And for this particular instance, the variance came up, and he will also need an interim use permit, but we're starting with this just to see if it's a viable option. Again, I want to touch that there is a public use ordinance that regulates the ability to use any of these products in public places, which it does specifically state sidewalk area. And then I guess one thing that has been stressed to us is that cannabis should be treated similarly to alcohol. And so that is why I did reference some of the drinking establishments that were adjacent to it. So a little more intro than what you guys normally get, but because it's the first time you're hearing this, I thought it'd be helpful.
Okay. Is the applicant here? Good evening. I guess you heard the county ordinances.
Yes.
So I guess questions from the board or something you want to say?
I'm prepared to hear what you guys think, and then I'd like the opportunity to respond to that if that works for you.
So first off, are you Adam Steele?
I am Adam Steele, yes.
Okay.
I guess I'd like to hear why you think it should be there.
Thank you. That's
Go
a
ahead.
good place to start.
And
So, first of all, I want to introduce myself. My business, it's Elemento, like H-I-J-K, Elemento. So that's how I've named it. I want to tell you that I am a medical dispensary first. My mother and I have been medical patients for a number of years and have found it to be extremely helpful. So that's where I decided to start my business, to kind of make that my, I guess priority is the way to say it. I want to, make care of patients a concern of mine that I want to put at the forefront of the business. Another huge aspect of my business, my mission statement, I'll read it exactly. Normalizing cannabis in a safe and welcoming space, delivering positive experiences. And what that means, normalizing, is making it comfortable for people to talk about, comfortable for people to understand it and to learn more about it, and to make people not just, poo-poo it and shove it aside out of negativity. It is legal now, it is in our lives. We have to be more open to it, and we have to approach it in the correct way. What we've decided the correct way, and what we plan to teach our customers, is what we call informed choices about responsible use. Because that is what it all comes down to, With anything, we can be irresponsible. With anything, we can make bad choices. But if we make informed choices about responsible use, there will be no problems. And that's why I'm putting that, again, at the forefront of my business. I'm going to train all of my employees in this philosophy, teach them to espouse it in sort of the same way I am, and to really again, make it a safe, welcoming space where people feel comfortable learning about cannabis, because people have questions. It's a complicated topic, like, especially about medicine too. Like, what helps me? What do I need? What do I not need? There's a million different varieties, different strains, you know, there's a lot to learn. And
Can I just stop you for a second?
Please.
It's legal. You don't have to convince us of all of the benefits. It's
Sure.
legal. We don't have the authority to go beyond that.
Sure.
So what we need to do is talk about the variance.
Okay. So I specifically, with regard to schools and public parks, I don't see any concern to children. Again, we check IDs at the door. There's no likelihood that children would even come close to our store in the first place. And I would say, in principle, it's precisely the same as a bar, which we're surrounded by bars. So the principle holds true there. I feel like, you know, it's an opportunity for us to put some positivity into the world on the topic. So I'd like the opportunity to do that. One other thing that I think is relevant, I do plan to pay my employees $20 an hour starting, and I don't know the market in Hoka, but I think it's safe to say there's not a lot of other jobs in Hoka paying that high. So that will help the economy locally, and again, positive. I want people to see the positive things we're doing with the business and not to see any.
But there isn't any ordinance against selling alcohol in the county.
I do understand that, yes.
Okay, well, you were mentioning alcohol,
I guess there's a very clear difference. I didn't, I apologize for that oversight.
go ahead.
So you say it's like a bar, so can the people come in?
No
sit down,
on-site consumption at
get
all.
high?
You can't use it on-site at all, so you can only purchase it there. And that's the other thing too, you can't even like take it out of the bag and look at it. Like you take your purchase and you leave, you know what I'm saying? You can't mess with the product in the store, you know what I'm saying? And there's very clear rules on that.
Everything's prepackaged.
But yes, it'll all be, you know, bagged up and ready to go. The nice thing, the location is a bank, so I have a vault to lock all of my stuff up in, which I'm sort of excited about. And frankly too, there's
It is a requirement, correct?
yeah, there's what am I saying? At the front door, there's like a check-in window, which is exactly what we need. This is cool too. We have an app that literally like scans your ID and pulls in all your information, links it to your order, and like, well, tells us if you're 21 or not. And that's the thing too. I like the idea of using technology, because somebody looks at their ID and in a slip moment, they might not just think right and like, oh, he's legal. But if you have a thing that tells you yes or no, it's always gonna be right, you know?
One of my issues is this, the argument that I'm reading and has been proposed seems to me economic.
Okay,
I hear arguments that we need to maintain the downtown business section and we need to expand it. And
yep,
we're prevented from considering economic issues.
okay.
And I'm not sure how you justify that one.
Well, I guess I didn't realize you weren't prepared or allowed to consider economic.
One of the findings
You know,
that we
okay.
have to abide by.
That said, I guess I wouldn't emphasize those points as much. I guess education is my main point. We want to educate the public to make them knowledgeable about. I guess that's the thing too. Cannabis is a new thing. It is going to be around, so we do want people to be educated, to understand it, to be able to make informed choices about responsible use.
What's the advantage of this cannabis?
A lot of it, first and foremost, health. There's a lot of health conditions that it treats. Minnesota has been a medical state for, I believe, 11 years now. They have a long list of treatments that are conditions that they treat. And it's been proven very effective. I have my own stories. The one story I like the most, a friend of mine, his father's 88 years old. And he found out cannabis works for him. But interestingly, he can't smoke it. He takes tablets, they're little pills. And he takes them for pain, and it's one of the most effective things he's ever found. And he's like, he's so thankful for it. And he's like, it was something he never considered in his life. And so he was, what am I saying? He was fortunate to have his eyes opened, and it brought him a lot of relief, so.
But if you got a Class A license, you drive a semi, you can't take.
No,
any of
none,
that
yeah,
stuff.
there's some guys that are just out of the running,
That's
yeah.
cure-all for everything.
Of course, of course. I have a buddy who, operates a train, same thing, he can't ever, so.
Any other questions from the board? We can have questions afterwards too.
To me, it seems more like you're talking about like a liquor store.
Sort of. To a large degree, they're one and the same. I want to say they're different. Liquor stores don't have an education program. They don't want to teach you about alcohol. They don't want to teach you about responsible use. You know, like that's not part of their normal way of operating. So I think that's one way that differentiates us from them.
Through the city council notes, they hit it kind of lightly, I thought. They kind of treaded water. But at the very end, they're not against having a store in Hoka.
Yeah.
They're against where it should be.
Oh, and
That's about all I got out of
the catch though,
city.
there's nowhere else in Hoka to go, so.
We'll have public comments after we get done with
I understand that, sure.
done questioning from the board.
I do want to clarify on the economic considerations. The item that can't be used is, for instance, I think he identified in the application that he had a significant amount invested in the building. That shouldn't be considered in your guys' review of it. As far as potential other economic development to the community, I don't know that that is an issue. And also, like, that can't be the only reason that you vote on a finding. It can be a consideration, but not the sole consideration.
Any other questions?
So with that being said, you've already invested thousands in this business,
About $10,000 I've spent so far.
remodeling the bank? or-
And well, actually, I just spent $2,000 more today for the lock I have to put on the front door. The Minnesota state requirements are onerous, to say the least.
Wouldn't it
So
been
you're putting
admin-
the horse before the cart?
I'm sorry, well, I am. I'm hoping you guys come through for me, because like that money is sunk cost. There's no returning anything to Walmart at this point.
Anything else?
I haven't got nothing else for him.
If you would step down, please, and we can have you come up, thank you.
Absolutely.
We'll have public comments. We're going to limit the public comments to 3 minutes. Go ahead.
I'm not gonna use my
State
3
your
minutes by
name.
walking up. So I'm Gary Van Domelen. I'm a Houston County resident. And I'm
State your
a
name, please.
Gary Van Domelen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'm a Houston County resident. I'm a retired attorney. I'm a trustee for St. Peter's Church. I'm a past school board member for the parish. And so I'm here on behalf of the parish and Houston County to talk about this. The other thing I want to mention is we heard a lot about education a minute ago. 20 years ago, I was involved in a project with the Consumer Product Safety Commission, Partnership for a Drug-Free America, the Jordan Family Foundation, to produce a public service announcement to help educate kids about drug abuse and how to get them to avoid doing things like this. So I've got some of that in my DNA and my background, and that's part of my passion for being here today. We've got 45 students in our school. We've got another 20 kids in the daycare center. All of them are within the scope of this ordinance. All of them are within the distance here to where this business will be located. I feel sorry for the county, not just Houston County, but for all the counties in Minnesota. Not because cannabis is legal, but because I think a lack of guidance that's being given to people. So for instance, the statute does not say that cannabis is like alcohol. It doesn't say that at all. Alcohol is a completely different compound. It's regulated by a different set of regulations. As you've pointed out here, it does not require a variance to an ordinance. It requires a liquor license. The other thing that's different about a tavern is people can go there and watch a ball game. They can go there and have a birthday party. They can have a pizza. But when they're doing that, they tend to do that in the afternoon or evening or on the weekend when the kids are not in school or in the daycare center. It's a completely different, poor guidance that's being given to counties by the state in these seminars on this point, because that's just not a relevant comparison, and it's not part of the law, it's not part of the statute. People my age, I'm 66, some of you are my age or maybe even older, so you might have heard weed, cannabis, marijuana. I'm gonna go get stoned. Today, the words have gotten more complicated about that. And so we compare this to, products that are sold at Quick Trip and products that are already being sold in a bar that's in Hoka. Not a good comparison, not a good comparison. Hemp is not the same thing as cannabis. It's 0.03 and below TCH. It's not a hallucinogenic. We've heard a lot about medical care getting better. Go to your doctor. Go to your doctor or hospital. Get a credible physician or a nurse to give you advice on how to get better.
30 seconds.
Pardon me?
You have 30 seconds.
So marijuana is not the same thing. This is 15% more potent than it was in the 90s. And so we don't want this stuff around our kids. I've submitted some written comments, and you have those, so I'm going to try and go as quickly as I can through this. Our local form of government doesn't have an ordinance yet, but when they met, the four that met said they do not want to have this in Hoka. They are the elected officials for our municipality to speak on our behalf, and so I think we should honor that. I've talked about some of the misgivings with what the staff analysis has been that's in the report, comparing this to a bar, comparing hemp. Hemp is an unregulated substance that doesn't require a variance, so that's why it can be sold in Quick Trip. By the way, Quick Trip called the Hoka government to say, are you okay with us selling hemp before they did it, because that's the way they operate.
Your time is.
I'm out of time, but not out of passion. I guess I'd say we have strong reservations that the city council said, the purpose for the requirement of the variance is valid, to protect our kids, not to have this kind of an influence on them. We don't want to have this kind of an influence next to a daycare and a park. It's right in the center of town, next to a library, next to the school, next to the daycare center and the Ball Diamond. And there's another way to do this in Hoka. Let's be a little smart about this. Let's get out a ruler. Let's get out a map. Let's get 1,000 feet away from the school and find some place to put this business legitimately, rather than circumvent this by seeking an ordinance. Takes $12,000 a year to educate a kid. We charge less than $2,500 to educate our kids because our school is supported by our parish and our community. We get the top third of the scores of any school we compete against. Our kids will become farmers, doctors, lawyers, and dentists and paramedics because we set a good example for them. They're some of the best kids that you can have anywhere in this county. Let's not set a bad example for them by doing this. And as I leave, if you're against this thing, raise your hand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Evening.
Hi, my name is Rachel DeJarlis, and I teach at St. Peter's School. I also have children who go to St. Peter's School. I have to say, as a staff, we have been very concerned about the idea of a cannabis location opening so close to the school. One of the things that I've been thinking about is why we have the ordinance in the first place. Why is there an ordinance to begin with? It's to keep the kids safe, right? That is why we have this ordinance, I'm guessing. Otherwise, there would be no ordinance about setback from the school. We do walk down Main Street. The kids, we go on little trips. We walk to the park. We go to the library. So we do walk down Main Street. And we don't necessarily need a cannabis shop there. There are the bars in town. And like you said, there's no ordinance against the bars. And as Gary said, they're usually operational more in the evening when the school kids aren't there. As a parent and as a teacher, I would say that we should follow the ordinance that is in place. I'm not saying we shouldn't have one. And also, there are communities around us. I believe you said both La Crescent and Caledonia have one, and it's even closer. Perhaps it would be a good idea to table the whole idea until we see how those communities do with cannabis shops so close to their schools and parks. those are the thoughts that I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, come forth.
Can we have you guys sign in too? You guys don't have to come back. We'll give you down, but there's a sign-up sheet right there, just so we can keep track for our records. Yep. Thank you.
Can do that. I'm Mary Kay Sheehan, born and raised in the Hoke area many, many years ago. Some of you may have recognized the name, I'm not sure. Went through St. Peter's for 12 years, graduated, went on to college in Winona, and then moved to the cities where I taught school for 34 years. Worked with elementary education kids, and I was shocked when I heard something like this might be coming to Hoka. There's two close by in Caledonia, La Crescent. I've heard actually Caledonia has two places that sell it, I'm not sure. And La Crescent also, because I guess the new store that went into where the Subway shop was, they sell it, as well as the new building that's going up. I know very little about the product. I think it would be a great medical thing. I think this should be dealt with through, I'm not going to say doctors would deal with it, but through clinics, doctor's assistants, whatever, something like that. After teaching 34 years, I can probably tell you the names of kids that I know today that are using something like this. And it's tragic. It's not good. And I can probably name a few parents that I know use this also, especially if kids see their parents or siblings use it. They think, oh, wow, that's great. I might as well try it too. And then some of the names of the products are quite interesting and inviting probably to kids. I've been into the Caledonia store once just to look around and see what was there, and I don't know, but many of the kids in Hoka walk past the area where this store is. Kids from school, kids from down at the Ball Diamond, and my opinion is let's keep Hoka a safe, beautiful town where people want to come to see the hills and the bluffs and especially Como Falls. And I brought an interesting third grade science book from my first years of teaching where Hoka made the book. And it talks about the beauty of it and it shows pictures. And the name of the lesson was The Lake That Disappeared. And if anybody would like to just have a look at that, it's very interesting. And I would like to see Hoka stay a town. Oh, this is interesting. When my sister died, probably 17 years ago, friends that I worked with in Burnsville, a suburb of the cities, a lot of them came down for the funeral, and they said, we didn't know you had mountains down here. And I said, well, I don't think they're mountains. We call them hills and bluffs. But I said, you got to stop and see Como Falls. And they were all excited. And that's the kind of thing we want people to be Hoka excited about. Not, oh, I can get this or that or the next thing there. So that's my take, coming from an old teacher.
I feel your passion. I don't want to take anybody else's time here, but this whole thing reminds me of, my dad was World War II. Smoke cigarettes like crazy. Well, back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, what did we hear about cigarettes? Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. And it took probably 50 years to educate people on how bad tobacco is. And I think we're gonna go through the same cycle with marijuana.
Only worse, maybe.
Maybe worse on the bad part of it.
Yeah.
And I think we're stuck in that cycle again.
And who wants to see their kids or grandkids? Or I don't have kids. I had many of them when I was teaching, but I don't have my own kids, but I've got young great nieces and nephews. It would make me sick to see them. My nieces and nephews didn't deal with it, but to see these little kids, and this is just surrounding them. So thank you for listening.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. My name is Autumn Beach, and I am the parent of children who attend St. Peter's School in Hoka. I am concerned about the proposal to open a cannabis store so close to our school. My children and many others walk by that location every day. I worry about the kinds of people this business may bring into the area and the potential risks that come with it. Just as important, I am concerned about the influence this type of store can have on our kids. Having a cannabis shop directly on their route to and from school sends the wrong message and normalizes something that we work hard to keep our children away from. As a parent and as our community, our top priority should be protecting the children's safety, well-being, and future. For these reasons, I respectfully ask you to consider rejecting the location of this cannabis store. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hello, my name is Meredith Knope, and I'm a resident of Hoka. I live on Main Street, actually, so I can see it out my window. And as a resident of Hoka, I care very deeply about where we're moving forward. And I know our town has gone through a lot. We've lost a lot of businesses. I know we had a flood that lost a lot. I know a lot of people who have helped a lot throughout the years. And I don't, as a resident, I have 3 children. I'm the pastor's wife at the Community Church of Hoka. We have 30-plus kids that attend there, too. We walk back and forth to the post office every single day. It's not something that I can see the trajectory of our town going as moving forward, but only continuing to give in to establishments that are not good for our community. Now, while I know we don't have a lot of research on how it has been going for La Crescent and Caledonia for many years, I do know that all of the states who have had this for much longer than we have can attest to marijuana as a gateway drug. It's just a beginning, and that's not something, it has been proven that it leads to other things. There's many hospital data on it not having good effects as well. And the people that I do know who have been medically treated, they also don't ever leave their home, and they are stuck. It might get rid of the pain, but it's not helping them to live their life. Now, that's just my opinion. There's lots of research out there. But as a resident of Hoka, and as a mother of 3 children, and a leader to other children and a homeschool teacher as well, I would love to consider it not being specifically on Main Street. I'd love it not in Hoka at all, but I do understand the economic beneficialities. I do know there's other locations. I'd love for it not to be in our county. That's just my piece.
Just a comment I forgot. I know we need some more businesses in Hoka. Let's bring a bakery or donuts or an ice cream shop.
I second that, yes.
Wayne, she reminds me of our teachers.
Yeah.
Where's that?
But I don't only want St. Pete's to be represented. There are other people. They're good family too, but other people in Hoka care too.
Thank you.
Hello,
Hey,
my name is Sandy Culver. I am a resident of Hoka Township. I'm also a parishioner of St. Peter's, and my children in the past have gone to school at St. Peter's. We heard about the benefits of marijuana, and medical marijuana can be beneficial at times, but it's rare. Most people do get their medical marijuana from their physicians. That need, there's not a vacuum for that need. What I didn't hear is the drawbacks of it. And the reason why we have the buffer zone is to protect the children. There's a big difference in brain development between a 12-year-old and 18-year-old. It's not necessarily even the daycare kids I'm worried about. I'm worried about the elementary kids, our junior high kids, whose brains are just developing. If they get exposed to this, the chances of them getting addicted are quite high. It's hard to stop when you don't have frontal lobe development. I personally have had friends whose children, young adults, have become addicted, and they've also gone through psychosis. And that is something that we don't hear about. But young adult brains, when they when they take marijuana in at such a young age, they can develop conditions such as hyperemesis. A lot of our ER visits are up because these kids start taking the marijuana and they can't stop throwing up. They can't stop becoming nauseated. The only cure for that is to completely stop the marijuana use. Psychosis. I'm afraid that some of our young people, young adults, is the age limit 21 for marijuana with the new law? Okay. A 22-year-old can come in with high addiction and have psychosis. We don't want to increase crime near our school. So I'm asking you to consider to uphold the law to protect our children and young adults in Hoka.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hello, my name is Barbara Bach. I'm a resident of Houston County, and I'm also a retired registered nurse, mother of 2 sons who are in their 40s, and a grandmother. And I see this happening here. I have no doubt that marijuana use is beneficial for some people medically. However, I do believe that that's best administered or ordered or overseen by medical professionals, not running into, trying to go to a store and have someone figure out what I should take. I'm concerned about the location of this, and I would ask you to uphold and not grant a variance to this. Hoka is a very small town. The downtown Main Street is very small, and to have the presence of this type of business is just not good for the children, for many of the adults, and also I think we need to be concerned about stranger danger, because obviously it's not just Hoka people going to be shopping there. We're going to be bringing a lot of people from La Crosse, Onalaska, wherever, and sometimes we don't know who those people are. I would be even go so far as to say that I might be concerned about children walking to and from school when there are so many strangers in the area. My granddaughter lives in South Florida. It's all metropolitan area. She's 16, and I grew up playing outside all day long. She never played outside unless we were outside with her. And I think that is something that might be hitting Hoka if we are drawing a lot of strangers here who don't live here, who have no other interest in the well-being and the health of the community other than purchasing their products. So I also agree with most of everything that the people before me have said. I would really encourage you to not grant a variance to this business.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Nathaniel Culver. I don't know if I can beat my wife. She was pretty impassioned there. And I'm a member of St. Peter's, trustee at the parish. And as my wife said, both our children went through St. Peter's School. I'm not discounting the medical benefits of marijuana, and he spoke quite a bit about. That's what he mostly talked about. But how many of the customers are coming in for medical marijuana? How much is coming in for just recreational purposes? I don't have a big, if it was like a pharmacy, maybe that'd be one thing. But we're talking about a place like compared it to a liquor store. Well, that's different than a pharmacy. Yes, okay, it is legal in Minnesota, but the federal department, DEA, still lists marijuana as a Schedule I drug, which basically means a drug that has no medical purposes under federal law. Now, the feds have chosen to look the other way, it seems, on these on this now that so many states have legalized it. But I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I mean, I'm not even, you know, the issue is not whether it's legal in Minnesota, but it is, because it is. But there again, they allowed, in making it legal for municipalities, to cities and counties to establish their certain setbacks and rules and where it can go. And there's a reason for that. You know, it is because of, it's not like a pharmacy. It is people coming in for recreational purposes. Now, I would be a little more different mind of it if it was purely medical, but it's that's what's emphasized. But is that's how many of those customers are actually medical patients? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yep. My name is Don Beeson. I've lived in Holker for 70 years. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a teacher. I'm a businessman. I own the building that this is going to supposedly go into, which not why I'm here. I went to St. Peter's School for 8 years. I walked by 4 bars to get to school every day. Didn't seem to affect me. Now there's 2 bars on Main Street and people drink outside, they smoke outside, they cuss and swear outside. I haven't heard anything about that. Kids walking by that doesn't seem to bother them. As far as being another place in Hoka, there is no place in the business district that would be 1,000 feet from a school. You can't see this building from the school. I don't think it's going to be advertising anything on the windows that are going to affect kids. You have to be 21 to enter the building. If 12, 14-year-old kids want to get marijuana, they probably know where they can get it through somebody at school. St. Peter's doesn't have any high school age kids. They're all younger kids that probably don't even know what marijuana is, except what they hear in school or from other people. So I don't see how it would affect them. And that's about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Good evening. My name is Joan Von Arx.
Hello.
I'm a longtime resident of Hoka, Minnesota, small town, 670 people, still says on the sign. I want it to stay that Hoka, that small, innocent town. I'd like to speak for all the small towns in Minnesota. Just because this has been legalized by our governor and our public doesn't mean we all agree with it. And I have grandchildren, children. I don't think we need it in Hoka. We need to stick to the ordinances that we have, and please, don't allow this to happen. on our main street in Hoka. We have one in Caledonia, we have one in La Crescent. 15 minutes. Why do we need one in Hoka? That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Well, Chairman, I think I would like to say this is the way it should be. Good dialogue, people show up, and I'll guarantee, and it's good to see a school people very proud of their school. It's good to see.
I'm Tom Bernsdorf. I live within the 1,000 feet. I sit a council seat for the city of Hoka, and I live right on Main Street. Obviously, you guys know by now that the school is very precious to the people that send their kids there and to the people that attend that church. And that church is a milestone piece in our town that we care a lot about. The kids that go to school there do walk by that place. They do utilize both sides of those sidewalks. There is a crosswalk that comes right into that building from the other side of the street. As far as the city of Hoka, I can't speak for everybody on the council. What I can tell you is that we didn't tread lightly around the topic when it was brought to the discussion table. What we were informed of was the fact that the application had been submitted with the little bit of paperwork that we had to talk about it, and that this was just going to be a formal discussion thing. Amelia had stated in an email that if anything more was going to keep processing, we were going to be informed and we would be able to submit a more formal discussion, a paper, whatever, to you guys, so that we as a council actually could sit down and meet and talk about it, whether we're inviting the people of Hoka, the people of the church, the people of the township, whoever. But so we can maybe get together, have a closed meeting, let the people come to us, tell us what they think, so we have more of a feeling of how it is. At the end of the discussion between the 4 out of the 5 of us there, we felt we need business in town. There's no doubt we need business in town, but is this the business for that town? Probably not. Now, we're not asking to bend the rules to get these guys in here 7 feet, okay? On the one by the park, we're talking 400 feet it misses it by. It's not even close. So what is the rule then? Why do we have it? If this allows it to be flexed that much, why do we have these ordinances? Kids walk by the bars, I get that. Our bars aren't open 24 hours a day. This place probably won't be either. The shouting, the yelling, all that, late night, 8 p.m. and later. There are not kids running the streets in town at that time of night. That's why the kids aren't complaining about that. Those things, there's an ordinance about drinking alcohol in Hoka that we hold, you're able to. That's not anybody else's problem. That's what the city of Hoka states you can do. You can stand out and drink alcohol on the sidewalk. So with the people that have contacted me and from the input that I've had, which has been a lot of it involving that church, I hope the commissioners take into consideration the outcome that we as a council came up with, which was to deny it, and take into consideration of the people that do try to do their best to keep that church going. Because if we lose 10 people out of that church because of 10 upset parents that don't want that thing in town, our school is gonna be in jeopardy, and it's already in jeopardy. And us people that are paying to keep that school going want to see it thrive. You can see a full room here of people that love that place down there. It's not just a school and it's a church, it's a staple in our community. And I ask that you strongly consider that. And I also could have you look back at this email where, it's stated right from the county that I'm hesitant to say that we would recommend approval at this time. So I would hope that you would stand by that and hold that to be true. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to make one correction. In your statement, the commissioners doesn't have anything to say about the decision made here. Decision that the Board of Adjustment makes, the commissioners can't overrule us. I just wanted.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
No, you're not for Board of Adjustment.
You guys are actually the ones that vote on the variance to approve it or
Right.
not,
Right.
not them.
Right.
It is you guys, not us or them.
But they do have, HOKA does have the ability to create their own ordinance.
Correct.
I think you just created a new agenda item for us.
We did go through that, if I may just jump in here. We did go through that earlier in this year, and we elected to follow the county's recommendations by how they do it in order to keep us from having to do all the permit processing, the paperwork, all that stuff that actually, the city does not make any revenue on this, okay? We can't impose a tax on it. We can't make any, the city makes no money off of it. Okay, so are we putting a building, are we utilizing a building on Main Street? Absolutely we are. But as just stated, the building's gonna have no storefront. So, is it being utilized? I don't know, it's a black front, so the same as it is right now. So is it actually, livening up Main Street? I don't think so, but that's just me. But what we did as a council was we wanted to follow what the county's recommendations were because it's not justifiable for us to be able to take it on ourselves, I guess. We don't have that power, the people to do it. So the county's recommendation is 1,000 feet and 500, which is why we're asking you to hold to that number.
Pam Walhoved, I'm not from Hoka, but I frequent it twice and sometimes 3 times a week. I'm on the city council in Brownsville. I wasn't going to speak until Tom got up and said the consideration that the Houston or the Hoka City Council would like to be informed as to what's going on and if things were to proceed further, and it sounds like that didn't happen. And I foresee this coming to Brownsville as an issue at some point, and all the other small cities that don't have ordinances in place. I appreciate the ordinance. I think that the city councils that are running those cities where those ordinances needed to be amended, those opinions need to be respected. And I think that further, there was one lady that said, as this goes on, finding out how businesses are doing, and ordinances can be changed and tweaked. And I just think it's too soon to go from 1,000 to 400 or less. I'll also state I'm okay with a cannabis shop, but the ordinances need to be respected. They're there for a reason. And if a city wants to uphold those ordinances, I think that needs to be respected. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'd like to clarify that notices were sent out.
What notices?
When we have any hearings, they go to the neighboring landowners. In this case, I think there were around 80. And then also municipalities within 2 miles.
Is there any other public comments? If not, go ahead. We're gonna give you 3 minutes because
That's fair, sir.
Or
late.
closing public comment. So you,
3 minutes, okay.
oh, no, I guess, is public comment done?
Yes, I think the public
Okay.
comments are done. Maybe we should go through the findings and then you can have a chance to tear the findings apart if you want to.
Okay.
I don't,
Or you want a question?
I guess I'd prefer to hear him before.
Okay.
Oh, I guess, yeah, it's, now
Go ahead.
that you say that, that does make sense, so.
And you're not limited by time, you have the.
Okay,
the,
perfect, thank you. A few things. One, people made a lot of comments about marijuana, and I'll just say, these people are not educated. These were very misinformed comments, and this is what I'm trying to normalize. I don't want people came in here tonight and said a whole bunch of things that are just plain wrong. And what can I do about it? Because you all just nodded your head like it was true. One thing I want to very clearly clarify, I heard two people say, medical marijuana, you should just go to your doctor and he'll give you a prescription and get it from him. That is not a thing. That is unlawful. The only place to get medical marijuana is at a marijuana dispensary. Another important point I want to make, my dispensary will be only medical marijuana when I open. I'm not sure you've read the news, but if you've read the news, there is no recreational marijuana in Minnesota. The people that grow the weed are getting their licenses the same time as me. They just put their seeds in the ground. They won't have weed to sell me until January. I won't have recreational weed for months, maybe well into 26. So I will be solely medical when I open. I'm open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I guess that's around school hours, but it's not when people are carousing and getting chaotic. Oh, and the final thing, in my front door, there's a space, I'm gonna advertise, there's only like 10 businesses in Hoka. I'm gonna advertise all of them. Hey, have you checked out Hoka? Because I am committed to the community, just the same way all the parents at St. Pete's are committed to the community. And I know they want to protect their children, and I won't even speak against that. I mean, you're protecting your children, what can I say? Of course you want that. But I will just say, there's nothing to protect them from. My cannabis business will never harm one of their children ever. I guarantee that. If their children get marijuana, it will be from another child they know, not from my shop. Oh, and the final point. In my budget, I have in my first year at least $5,000 of charitable donations to to local groups, specifically St. Pete's. I plan to give St. Pete's so much money they won't know what to do but like me anymore. Because I don't know. So that's all I got. Thank you, sir.
Now we'll go to the findings, and unless you got, we can discuss it. Let's go to the findings.
So as always, you guys do have the option to change findings. See fit. The other thing that I do want to clarify before we get to the findings, so there can be discussions, is that the distances that I have identified in the variances was from building to building. And after double checking things, the variance setback is actually building to the cannabis business building to the closest property line of the land use in question. And in this case, with the parsonage connected to the same property as what the St. Pete's actually on, it does reduce that setback or increase that setback request. And so if you look at the requested setbacks, it is 625 feet to the required 1,000-foot setback rather than 400, and a variance of 160 feet to the required 500-foot setback. So, any questions on that before I get going on findings?
No, go ahead.
So number one, that the variance request is in harmony with the intent and purpose of official controls. Staff analysis states that the Office of Cannabis Management allows local government units the ability to regulate time, place, and manner restrictions by establishing setbacks. All dimensional standards are eligible for variance, which requires the Board of Adjustment to complete site-specific reviews to determine reasonableness and weigh if there is an immediate threat to the health or safety of the public. From an economic development standpoint, the land use plan has multiple goals and policies in regard to diversifying and promoting economic development, which all support allowing this proposal.
Roll call vote.
Ken Anderson?
I'll go yes.
Franklin Hahn?
Yes.
Dean Hoppel?
Yes.
Wayne Runigan?
Yes.
And Ken Visker?
No. And an explanation, I don't, I guess I'm having problems with the business of in harmony. I think the intent of the ordinance was to enforce it for the safety of kids. And by granting the ordinance, we're not, or granting the variance, I should say, we're not fulfilling the intent of the ordinance.
Would like to change my vote to no also. I agree with Ken this year.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Number 2, that there are practical difficulties in complying with the official controls and the proposed use of the property is reasonable. Economic considerations alone do not constitute practical difficulties. Analysis states that while the applicant has cited economic consideration, that alone cannot justify the variance. The setbacks established in the cannabis business ordinance do effectively prohibit any cannabis business within the city of Hoka, and it is reasonable for a retail site to operate in a commercial district. There is a bar restaurant selling hemp-derived cannabis products even closer to the school. Franklin?
No, reason I say that is because hemp is not governed by the zoning ordinance in Houston County. You do not need, I think, you do not need any county approval to get a hemp license, or am I wrong?
You don't need a variance.
Not variance.
You don't need a variance. You have to get a license through the county to sell it?
There will be a retail registration.
But it's not, we talk about the 2 bars that sell it, they didn't have no city ordinance when those 2 bars started selling it like we do now.
I guess the hard part with that now is that that's still in the process. My understanding is they're being allowed to kind of just continue operations, and then the sign-up period for that license starts with the state October 1st and runs through the month of October. So that one's still kind of in the works. Moving on. Dean?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Ken Visker?
No.
And Ken Anderson?
No. I do not feel it's an appropriate business in that school zone.
So, number 3, that the variance request is due to the special conditions or circumstances unique to the property and not created by the property owner. Analysis states that the applicant is looking to utilize an existing commercial location for his business, and in a small community such as Hoka, there are limited options to do so. Dean?
Yes.
Wayne Renigan?
Yes.
Ken Visker?
No, it appears to me that the applicant has created the need for the variance by trying to open a cannabis store against the ordinance.
Ken Anderson?
I'll go yes.
And Franklin Hahn?
Yes.
Number 4, that the variance cannot be alleviated by a reasonable method other than a variance, and the minimum variance which would alleviate the practical difficulty is sought. Analysis states that the applicant would like to locate his business within Hoka, but meeting the setbacks would effectively prohibit it. The only reasonable method outside of a variance is relocating to another community. Wayne?
Yes.
Ken Visker?
Yes.
Ken Anderson?
Yes.
Franklin Hahn?
Yes.
And Dean Hoppel?
Yes.
Number 5, that the variance will not alter the essential character of the locality, nor substantially impair property values or the public health, safety, or welfare in the vicinity. Analysis states that this parcel is located in a commercial district with alcohol establishments on both sides, keeping it consistent with the character of the locality. In addition, the establishment to the east is registered to sell hemp-derived cannabis products. Ken Visker?
No, and again, purpose of the ordinance was to ensure public safety, and it doesn't appear that that's happening.
Ken Anderson?
No, I agree with Kenny Visser.
Franklin,
No, because I stated it before, these bars that's selling this in Hoka, they're grandfathered in. So, my answer is no.
Dean,
No.
and Wayne.
No, because it brings up public health, safety, welfare of the vicinity, and everybody here is against it. And I also bring up the fact the city of Holka was against it. I always look at that first, whether it's a township or a city, what do they say? So my answer is no.
6, that the request is not a use variance and shall not have the effect of allowing any use that is not allowed in the zoning district, permit a lower degree of flood protection than the regulatory flood protection elevation, or permit standards lower than those required by state law. Analysis states that this proposal is allowed within the commercial zoning district, and a variance from public places is an area variance. Floodplain is not applicable for this request. Ken Anderson.
I'll say no because it's too close to a school again.
Franklin.
I'd go yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Wayne.
Yes.
And Ken Visker.
Yes.
So is there a motion to accept the findings?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Well, now this is what we have to make a decision, and I stand corrected. I said the planning commission, but I said the commissioners couldn't overrule it. The Board of Adjustment, which we are, cannot overrule our decision. I stand corrected on that. Here's the way it looks to me. It's the selling of cannabis is legal. What the board has to decide now is what we want to weigh on what the county used for setbacks. Because we have, in the past, we don't have the authority as a board to change the zoning ordinance. The only way a zoning ordinance can be changed is to go through the process of submitting an application from the planning commission, and then it goes to Amelia, and then it's presented to the commissioners. You have to have a hearing and whatever. So this is the decision that the board here has to make. Yes.
I think if any finding fails.
I know.
And we had one, I think,
We had
that
two of
failed.
them that failed.
So.
Number 2 and 5. Is that match yours?
So that means that we're not in a position to grant the variance.
Right. But I think
Appropriate, just a motion to deny the variance.
that's it. When one of the findings normally is denied, it's an automatic denial. But we have to go through the findings, and the proper way is to have a motion from the board, one way or the other, and then we vote on it.
I move we deny the variance.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion on it before we vote? Roll call vote.
Dean Hoppel.
No.
Wayne Runnigan.
No.
The motion is to deny the, realize that where you're voting.
Motion is.
It's to deny the variance.
That's
Deny
what's
the
on.
variance. Right.
Deny it.
Right.
So a positive motion is to accept that denial.
If you agree with the motion to deny the variance, you vote yes. If you
Okay. I'll just
disagree, you
I'll
vote
just start
no.
fresh. So for a motion to deny the variance, Dean Hoppel.
Yes.
Wayne Runnigan.
I make a Deny it. Yes.
Franklin,
Yes, I stated my reasons before, I'm not gonna state them again.
Ken Anderson.
Yes.
Yes, if you guys could provide reasons too, that's always great. And Ken Visker.
Yes.
Would anybody else, I guess, like to provide a comment as to their decision?
Pardon?
Would any,
Period.
oh,
You wanna comment why you voted no? Or I mean, why we denied it? That's what she's asking.
just for the record,
Have you already stated for the
But
record?
I think I went on record on the findings in my reason.
just same as your findings? Okay. Okay,
Okay, before we adjourn, and this is, and I agree with you, Ken, I would appreciate it if the board would draw up proposed resolution to change the zoning ordinance in effect of these registered feedlots. You know where I'm going with it. And,
I'm with you.
but I'd like to have the board draw, on your own, draw up something.
Okay.
And we can discuss it as a board. I would like to see in there, that's just my opinion, retroactive date back to whatever, 2015, whatever. It may never go through the planning commission, it may never go to the commissioners, you know, what
Yeah. And if we may, let's adjourn and have a little planning session on that. If you-
well, you folks can, but we got the planning commission, so I won't, I gotta sit
we
down.
do. I'll just make the comment that the state is undergoing rulemaking right now with feedlots, and so I guess until we have a better guidance of where they're going, I don't know that we'll be doing any modifications to our zoning ordinance. So you don't want to change it and then change it again.
Were they gonna bring that up in their fall session? Have you heard?
It's, the comment period was done a couple months ago, and that just affects feedlot rules. Zoning is something different, but, I guess I'd like to have an understanding of what they're looking at doing before we
Safety
make
lot thing
modifications.
is gonna be a 2 or 3 year process. They're just starting that.
Oh, yes, it's multiple year,
A long time before they get anywhere to change.
yeah.
Well,
They have to get
anyway,
the ones done and then.
I agree.
you write
Yeah.
something
Yeah,
up, I'd
I'll
appreciate
work
it.
on it.
I appreciate it. I mean, the whole board can.
Yeah, no, I'll bring something.
Yeah, it'd be good to have a discussion.
I'll bring something.
Actually, in a way, allowing up type 3, so a septic
Are we adjourned?
also.
I need a motion.
Type 3 would be good.
Move we adjourn.
Second it.
Ken and
Meeting
And Wayne?
adjourned. Thank you, folks.